With all sincerity, the true work of journalism is what Arise TV has brought to us Nigerians. And it is very important for us as Nigerians to pay proper attention to those potential things that could bring about poverty, hunger, unemployment, and even make we add insecurity join am. Just recently now, Theifnubu and his political cabal, Anini, just announced the 2024 budget. They can't even give us accurate information to tell us how 1.27 trillion naira was added to the initial budget that was supposed to be 27.5 trillion naira is now 28.78 trillion naira. Before I will come talk with you, I'm not supposed to talk. I beg viewers, make una watch this video. Make una hear how Arise TV, Oseni Rufai, Ayo, and Dr. Abati they analyze their own opinion for this issue. That is why I say they've brought true journalism to Nigerians. Because truth not far from all the things where they talk. Like I talked about before, it go better make we know those way they worry us than we not know those way they worry us. It clear. Their face shine, their shoe shine. We see them, not them. Be the demon where we they pray against. Say, Lord, Lord, bind, cast, chain, destroy. You don't need to pray for that. The people where they pray for now say, may God bind, cast. Now this set of people where they see so. Viewers, I bet wanna watch this video, I'm gonna drop on a comment, wanna tell me what you wanna think. Because before I can talk some certain things for you, Theifnubu and his political Anini gang, you people are ready to put Nigerians again for another 4 years again. Oh, Nigeria, my country. I'm gonna watch this video. I'm gonna tell me on our opinion. 1.27 trillion naira. Do you know what it will do for about 200 million Nigerians? If even they share that money, 5 million for each Nigerians to take go and establish that 1.27 trillion that they are looking for, change go remain. If they put that money for education, our educational system, it go bust. Now God, we pray, make He arrest all these men. Make He arrest them, No, I got to they arrest people now. He go arrest them, give them problem way big past them. Problem way big past them. As they say, the people issue not be waiting they can't solve for that office. Now their issue they go solve come up for that office. That's so I talk Arish. Make una listen to this analysis from Arise TV. Then make una not forget to drop in a comment. I love you all. Yes, I see you again for my next video. One love.
President Bola Tinubu has signed a budget of 28.78 trillion naira for the 2024 fiscal year. National Assembly had on Saturday passed the 2024 appropriation bill, increasing its size from the initial proposed 27.5 trillion naira by President Bola Tinubu to 28.7 trillion naira. The budget size saw an increase of 1.2 trillion naira.
We're signing the budget that has a lot of, like they say in Nigerian parlance, comma. Extra 1.2 trillion was added to that budget, which we do not understand for what that money is added. Then a lot of very funny, frivolous spending. Most of the National Assembly members probably will not go to that hospital they're trying to build. So what happens to funding the National Hospital in Abuja rather than building another specific hospital with about a couple of billions, 15 billion thereabouts, for National Assembly members, where most of them still go to get their healthcare abroad? But you talked about library yesterday, and I'm very happy you talked about it, because half the time they will not go to the library. It's just for fancy. Or why can't we even build a digital library where all the materials are got digitally? You just give the people access codes to be able to get into them. But we like this government of structures. We build things to show off. Because we like this commissioning things. And half the things we commission, they will not work. That's the kind of country we've built. They will start to use all sorts of time. Mechanical completion, mechanical commissioning, and all of that. So we've been able to bump this up to 1.2 trillion. Another question will be the budget performance. They always make this thing very nebulous for us because they know that over 3,000 pages, nobody will have the time to scrutinize every single line item. So they might have put in those things in other line items. It's the only one the media can pick out, we see. There are some people we still pick out. with the increase of 1.2 trillion that was done at the last day. Another thing I would like to also call for, I hope that projects will be executed as written in this. If not for anything, I think the citizens and all of us, we should have sort of like an ombudsman office. If you can check the budget in your constituency and the project they say they will do, let's see if they are truly doing them. Because after the budget has been passed, then something called the contract scam will happen. There are some people now that once the budget has been passed and been signed into law now, all they do is they carry their portfolio to Abuja and they link up with one or two people in different ministries and MDAs and they get contracts that they resell. And people never do them. It's not just to sign a budget of 28.78 trillion in 2024. It's to ensure that it works. And going forward, can we look for a way to cut spending? We can't keep increasing these deficits at the expense of our people, because the deficit you're even increasing, what's the impact on the lives of the people? Look at the trend. You see, when we're talking that day, people just say, Rufai, you talk. Look at the trends. You know, I was saying that there was no empirical data. Now the minister is saying that something that they targeted for 5 million people, only 163,000 people got it. So was that a palliative for Christmas period on the free train and free bus? That's part of the thing we say they didn't plan. And where did they get the data from? They got the data from bus companies that participated. Why don't you have a portal where people can register, you can see their data? They say 163,000 people, and they say it was supposed to be for 5 million people. When we say it's another government of the headline now, they say Rufai doesn't like people. Let's call it speed is speed. It's a new year, let's do well. And that's my case.
Now, the causal relationship between the executive and the legislature, and the president commending the legislature, where there are questions that economists have raised in this regard. So this is not necessarily my personal opinion. Questions have been raised about the 1.2 trillion additional funding, raising the total to 28.7 trillion. Some people say 28.8 trillion. The president appears to be very pleased with that. But Nigerians are still interrogating the reason for that increment, because they're saying that to say that there was no adequate funding from MDAs in the budget, well, we have to take a close look at the line items in that regard. And some of the line items in that regard, as have been pointed out, do not seem to be convincing enough to those who know the subject as professionals. For example, the National Assembly wants to have a takeoff grant of 12.12 billion to build a National Assembly library complex. Another 3 billion to buy books. Well, this National Assembly doesn't come across to us as a National Assembly of people who spend some amount of time in the library or who read. We see them as a National Assembly of persons who are just eager to please and enjoy the perks and privileges of office. Meanwhile, 0.11% of that budget is devoted to sports development in a year when Nigeria has a lot of sports commitments and, the government itself is talking about human capital development. 2% only is devoted to education in a country that has over 20.1 million pupils out of school. And education being a major priority, in the competitive world in which we live in. And the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, celebrated the fact that capital expenditure is now 9.9 trillion, and that it is higher than recurrent expenditure, which Mr. Edun puts at 8.7 trillion. Well, budget deficit, Mr. Edun in his own commentary went for that to say that it's lower this year. But is he aware that that budget deficit that has been that will be financed through borrowing is 7.83 trillion naira in that budget.